So there are a couple of assumptions with traditional knowledge protection that I think are really needing to be unpacked and interrogated a little bit more than they are. And one of them is that whoever was first in terms of acquiring traditional knowledge should take priority when recognizing benefit sharing and sort of the beneficiaries for the commercial use of traditional knowledge. So in other words, does it matter if somebody came first with that knowledge, or should one also be recognizing various other innovators along the way? And the case of rooibos is a good one to look at, where many hundreds of years ago, colonial settlers coming to South Africa and landing in the Ferris Cape would have encountered some local people using rooibos, possibly for tea, possibly for medicinal purposes. We don't really know. And what I think we do know is that San were present in the area where people were exploring this particular region for interesting new teas and interesting new medicinal plants. And a certain Ginsberg, somebody called Ginsberg, who was a Russian immigrant, decided that he wanted to make a Ceylon of the Cape out of rooibos tea. How he got that knowledge is anyone's guess, but he would have encountered settlers possibly brewing tea and using rooibos in different ways, and rooibos got incorporated into a commercial product which was later marketed. Along the way, there were innumerable people who contributed to the development of rooibos tea industry. One of them was a woman called Trintjie Swart, who in the 1930s was instrumental in catalyzing the industry to a new level, because she led the industry towards ants who were collecting the seed in their nests. And up until that point, the industry had really struggled to find adequate seed for cultivation. So it was really through Trintjie's and her knowledge and her observations of the natural history of ants that led the industry to a completely different level and enabled the cultivation of the plant. So when we talk about knowledge and innovation, it's really important to recognize that it's not necessarily only a single group or a single individual even who's responsible for contributing traditional knowledge towards the successful commercial development of a product. In the case of rooibos, we know that the San and Khoi would have contributed knowledge, but people like Trintjie's and many others who followed her would have also contributed knowledge in different ways, which led to the commercial success of the industry. In the 1960s, there was a woman, Anneke Theron, who found that rooibos was fantastic for curing the colic of her baby. And following that discovery, rooibos really reached a new level in terms of the European markets and became an international product. So somebody like Anneke Theron, who was a housewife in Pretoria, who really had no knowledge of rooibos production but played a very big role in the industry. So now we faced with the question of how we acknowledge these sorts of people when access and benefit sharing agreements get negotiated. And I fear that we are still stuck in a model that is saying the first people who innovate are the most important, without recognizing that there are these numerous steps along the way, which sometimes are even more important than that first piece of knowledge. So they're deeply political issues, they're complex issues, but we have to interrogate them. And with rooibos, the case is particularly prevalent at the moment, because small-scale rooibos farmers, many of who do have a Khoi heritage, still live in intimate connection with this plant, yet feel their knowledge is not properly acknowledged in the rooibos benefit sharing agreement that's been negotiated now. and yet their forefathers and their forefathers before them lived with the plant and have contributed towards the industry and are still very much living with that plant and living with the knowledge of that plant today. So we need to figure out ways to bring access and benefit sharing and this notion of traditional knowledge into our contemporary ideas of knowledge and equity and justice, and make sure that we don't further marginalize knowledge holders by being stuck in a paradigm that only recognizes first knowledge holders.